On June 12, 2025, Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, took off from Ahmedabad Airport at 1:38 p.m. There were 230 passengers on board and 12 crew members. Among them, 10 were flight attendants and 2 were pilots. The flight was headed to London Gatwick. It was supposed to be just another regular journey, but only 32 seconds after takeoff, something went terribly wrong. Both engines failed. Alarms rang in the cockpit, and then the plane lost power and crashed into the BJ Medical College campus. It hit the ground in flames. Of the 242 people on board, only one survived. His name was Vishwaskumar Ramesh, a 40-year-old software engineer from the UK. He was sitting near the back. He said he felt the plane drop, saw a hole rip open in the fuselage, and crawled through the fire and wreckage to safety. He later told reporters, "I thought I was dead. Then I found a hole and crawled out." Ramesh was the only survivor. Everyone else on board died. The crash also killed 19 people on the ground, students and staff who were inside the medical college dormitories. So what happened? The plane didn't explode. It wasn't shot down. The weather was clear. The answer came from the black box. It showed that both fuel control switches, the ones that keep the engines running, were manually turned from run to cut off, and they were flipped seconds apart. These switches don't move easily. You have to lift the safety guard and press them down intentionally. The cockpit voice recorder only captured 2 short lines. One voice said, "Why did you cut off?" Another replied, "I didn't." No more words were spoken after that. The engines were dead. Captain Sumit Sabharwal was 56 years old. He had over 15,000 hours of flying experience and was the airline's chief pilot. The first officer, Clive Kunder, was 32 years old with more than 3,000 hours logged. Kunder was flying the plane. Sabharwal was monitoring the instruments. After the crash, rumors began to spread. Some said Sabharwal was grieving the loss of his mother. Others said he was struggling emotionally. But Air India and the captain's family both said he was stable and cleared to fly. The pilot union urged people not to jump to conclusions. Back in 2018, the FAA issued an advisory. It warned about the possibility of fuel switches moving accidentally due to electrical signals, but the advisory wasn't mandatory. Air India inspected its planes, no defects were found. And yet, in this crash, the switches were flipped. In July 2025, the AAB released its preliminary report. Both switches were found in the CUTOFF position. The engines had no fuel. An auto restart was attempted, but failed. There were no mechanical problems. Leaked sources from the U.S. investigation pointed to Captain Sabharwal, but the AIB didn't name him. Investigators are now reviewing cockpit layouts, pilot behavior, system software, and more. In 2019, a test incident in a Japanese simulator showed similar switch movement caused by system confusion, but no one was hurt. Could something like that have happened again, or was this a deliberate act? The families of the victims are desperate for answers. Sarah Khan, whose 2 cousins died in the dorm crash, said, "Tell us what happened. Only the truth will help us heal." Across the UK and India, vigils have been held. Photos of the victims, candles, tears, families holding hands, holding on to hope, and still asking the same question. Until the very end, the blame keeps pointing to the pilot. Once someone said, when an aircraft crashes, just blame the pilot. It's not like a dead man can defend himself, and maybe that's what's happening here. But this isn't just about one man. This isn't even just about Flight 171. There are other crashes unexplained, crashes that involve the same aircraft model, the Boeing 787. We're not blaming Boeing, but it's hard to ignore the pattern. Fuel switch issues, electrical noise, warnings from years ago that were never enforced. This may not be sabotage, it may not be suicide, but it might just be something. The final report is due in mid-2026. Until then, the truth remains grounded. The questions still fly, and so do we. We remember, we investigate, we keep asking what really happened to Flight 171.